SG1 Sports Central, we're going to be going over another schedule preview, and this one's going to be over South Carolina. And this was a team that overall was pretty underwhelming during the 2019 season. I thought they were going to do much better than how they did. They ended up going just 4-8, and they lost 3 of their last 4. Of course, for their games since November, they did beat Vanderbilt 24-7. However, they did lose to Appalachian State 15-20, lost to Texas A&M 6-30, and also got beat up by Clemson 3-38. But overall, I mean, their 3 main wins came during September and October. And honestly, I thought South Carolina was going to be able to make it to a bowl game this season. I mean, this team had a ton of potential, a lot of returning talent. I thought the sky was honestly the limit for South Carolina, which in the end, it really wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But then again, I mean, their schedule was absolutely brutal. Having to play Clemson, Texas A&M, all these really tough teams. It was tough for South Carolina here this season. It'll be interesting to see how they can overcome that next season as well. A few key points for South Carolina going into this offseason. They returned their starting quarterback Ryan Helinski, which, if you don't know, he had 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So he had a pretty good season. Of course, those are pretty average yards for a quarterback. They do lose their top running backs, Tavion Feaster and Rico Dowdle, which those 2 losses are going to be really tough. Both those running backs combined for over 1,400 yards. And 9 touchdowns to go along with that, so that's going to be tough to have to overcome as well. They also lose their 3rd running back in Mon Deason, which he had just over 200 yards, so he didn't have as big of an impact on this team. But he's, once again, having to lose 3 running backs is going to be tough for this team next year. They lose their top wide receiver, Brian Edwards, who had over 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. And they also lose their top tight end, Kyle Markway, which he really didn't. Well, I mean, he did put up 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, but overall, he won't be that big of a loss for this team. They lose 1 on the offensive line, 2 on the defensive line, and 2 linebackers along with that. So there aren't as many hits on the defense. But there are tons of major hits on the offense, which is really concerning for me, especially losing their top wide receivers as well with Edwards and Shee Smith, in which the defense honestly might improve in this situation, only losing 4, which 4 losses is a lot, no doubt about that, but it honestly isn't all that bad compared to some teams. But this offense could honestly have a pretty terrible season. I mean, when you lose running backs and wide receivers like they are, it's going to be tough. I mean, Ryan Helinski is going to have to play really well this season if this South Carolina team is going to be able to make it to a bowl game. I think the odds of making a bowl game for South Carolina right now are pretty low. Their schedule is a little bit easier this season. I mean, as you can see, we're going to go over this real quick in a sec. But nonetheless, it is still a really tough schedule. You start off the season against Central Carolina, or actually that's Coastal Carolina in Eastern Carolina. 2 easier games there. Then Missouri, of course, first conference game on September 19th. And then Kentucky and Florida on the road, which that Florida game is going to be tough. And same as Tennessee and Texas A&M, those will be 2 tough games, but at least South Carolina has them at home. Then it's on to Vanderbilt, and then Georgia and LSU in back-to-back weeks as well as Wofford and then Clemson. So it's a good thing that South Carolina doesn't have to play Alabama, because if they did, they'd have to play Alabama, Florida, LSU, Georgia, and Clemson all in the same season. So really, South Carolina does not get a break at all. But nonetheless, I mean, it's going to be tough. It will be another tough season for South Carolina. I don't think that it'll be as tough as it was last year. But of course, once again, I mean, this schedule is brutal for anybody for that matter. And here's what I'm kind of expecting at first sight. I'm going to give you your first 2 games against the 2 Carolina teams. Now, those will be 2 wins. And then Wofford will be my 3rd guaranteed win. As for projected losses, I'm going to take LSU and Clemson. These 2 teams competed in the national championship last season. I don't expect LSU to be quite as good as they were last year up here in 2020, but still, it's a road game against a really tough team. I don't think that's going to happen, but nonetheless, here's my record estimation. I'm going to say 4-8 to 6-6 for South Carolina. Once again, South Carolina, I mean, they're a good team and they've got a lot of potential, but I don't think that they're able to. I mean, they got a chance of making it to a bowl game, but I think they've got just as good of a chance of going 4-8 as they do 6-6. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts on South Carolina in the comments below. Let me know your record predictions. Of course, once again, it's early February, so we're just really early on in this offseason, but that's kind of what the point of a schedule preview is. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know your thoughts once again in the comments below, and I will see you all later.